The Galactic Council had made their decision with the casual cruelty of gods playing with ants. 2 million human refugees from the destroyed colony of New Terraform would be relocated to Mars, a barren, hostile world that even humanity had abandoned centuries ago. It was a death sentence wrapped in bureaucratic language. Melissa Chen stood in the cargo bay of the transport ship Exodus VII, watching the red planet grow larger in the viewport. As the lead terraforming engineer for the Human Colonial Administration, she had seen impossible situations before. But this was beyond impossible. 25 days, she muttered, pulling up the holographic data on her wrist terminal. They're giving us 25 days before the atmospheric processors we brought will fail without resupply. Daniel Rodriguez, her logistics coordinator and the closest thing she had to a co-conspirator in this madness, stepped beside her. His dark eyes reflected the rust-colored planet below. The Council thinks we'll be begging them for rescue within a week. They want us to fail, Mel. They want an excuse to scatter us across the galaxy as indentured labor. Then we won't give them that excuse, Melissa said, her jaw set with determination. We're going to do something they think is impossible. We're going to turn this wasteland into paradise before their deadline runs out. Daniel raised an eyebrow. You have a plan. I have the beginning of one. Get me the engineers, the botanists, and anyone with construction experience. We're having a meeting in 1 hour. Day 1 arrival. The landing was chaos. 2 million people, most of them traumatized, exhausted, and terrified, descended onto the Martian surface in a fleet of transport ships. The prefabricated habitat domes began deploying automatically, thousands of transparent structures that would provide basic shelter and oxygen. Melissa addressed the crowd through every communication channel available. Her voice echoed across the refugee camps, projected onto screens, and transmitted to personal devices. I know you're scared. I know you've lost everything, but we are humanity and we don't break, we adapt. We survive. We thrive. In 25 days, the Galactic Council expects to find our corpses. Instead, they're going to find a civilization. The words were bold, perhaps foolishly so. But Melissa knew something about human psychology. People needed hope more than they needed food. Day 3, the infrastructure blitz. Daniel had worked miracles with the logistics. Every person with engineering experience was assigned to construction crews. The refugees weren't just survivors. They were former colonists, scientists, builders, and dreamers who had carved homes out of hostile worlds before. Melissa's plan was audacious. Instead of slow, careful terraforming, they would create localized habitable zones using a network of atmospheric processors, heat generators, and electromagnetic shields. Each bubble would support 1,000 people and be connected by pressurized transit tubes. The work was brutal. Mars's thin atmosphere and freezing temperatures meant that every mistake could be fatal. But humanity had something the other galactic species lacked: a stubborn refusal to accept defeat. Daniel coordinated supply chains with military precision. We're 3D printing habitat extensions using Martian regolith, he reported to Melissa. The printers are running 24/7. We've also discovered ice deposits 3 kilometers north. If we can tap into those. Do it, Melissa interrupted. Water is life. Get drilling teams there immediately. Day 7, green shoots. Dr. Sarah Okonkwo, the chief botanist, appeared in Melissa's makeshift office with tears in her eyes. You need to see this. In one of the agricultural domes, under banks of LED grow lights powered by solar arrays, the first plants had sprouted. Modified wheat, designed to grow in minimal atmosphere with maximum efficiency, pushed green shoots through the Martian soil. They're growing faster than projections, Sarah said, her voice filled with wonder. The low gravity actually helps, and the CO2-rich atmosphere, our plants are thriving on it. Melissa allowed herself a rare smile. Scale it up. I want 50 agricultural domes operational by day 15. Word spread through the camps. People volunteered for agricultural duty, desperate to be part of the miracle. The refugees were becoming citizens, building something larger than themselves. Day 12, the water flows. Daniel's drilling team struck ice. Within hours, engineers had constructed a pipeline system that brought water to central processing facilities. The liquid was purified, oxygenated, and distributed to every habitat dome. But Melissa had a different vision for some of that water. Daniel, I want you to create a lake, right in the center of the main settlement. He stared at her. A lake we barely have enough water for. A lake, she repeated firmly. People need more than survival. They need beauty. They need to remember what they're fighting for. 3 days later, Lake Hope shimmered in the Martian sunlight, its surface protected by an atmospheric dome. Children, who had spent weeks in fear, laughed and played at its shores. Adults wept at the sight of water reflecting the alien sky. Day 18, the power grid. Energy was the bottleneck. The solar arrays provided substantial power, but not enough for 2 million people building a civilization from scratch. Melissa made a controversial decision. We're going to tap into Mars's geothermal energy. The planet's core was still warm, and with humanity's drilling technology, they could reach it. It was dangerous. A mistake could trigger seismic instabilities, but the potential payoff was enormous. Daniel led the drilling operation personally. For 3 days, the teams worked in rotating shifts, boring deep into the Martian crust. On day 21, they hit a thermal vent. The geothermal power station came online with a hum that could be felt throughout the settlement. Energy poured into the grid, more than enough to power every system, every dome, every dream. Day 24, Paradise Rising. The Galactic Council's inspection ship arrived a day early, hopping to catch humanity in failure. Instead, they found something that defied their understanding. Melissa and Daniel stood at the entrance to the main settlement as the alien delegates emerged from their vessel. The council representatives, a mixture of species who had never believed humanity capable of anything but chaos, stared in stunned silence. Before them stretched a thriving colony. Transparent domes covered kilometers of Martian surface, connected by gleaming transit tubes. Inside, green parks flourished. The central lake reflected the light of Earth, visible as a blue star in the Martian sky. Markets bustled with activity. Children attended schools. Artists painted murals on habitat walls. "This is impossible," the council leader, a crystalline being from Zephyros Prime, whispered through its translator. Melissa stepped forward, her voice steady. "No, this is humanity. You gave us 25 days to die. We used them to build paradise instead." Daniel added quietly, "We're not asking for your help anymore. We're offering you a partnership if you're interested." Day 25, the message. That night, Melissa stood beside the lake, watching the unfamiliar constellations wheel overhead. Daniel joined her, 2 cups of synthesized coffee in hand. "We did it," he said simply. "We did," Melissa agreed. "But this is just the beginning. Mars is our foothold. Next, we'll terraform Venus, then Europa, then worlds beyond this system. The Council will try to stop us." Melissa smiled, a fierce expression that spoke of determination forged in impossible circumstances. "Let them try. They dumped refugees on a dead world and expected us to disappear. Instead, we showed them what humanity does best. We turn hell into home." Above them, the first artificial satellites began their orbits, broadcasting a simple message to Earth and beyond. Mars lives. Humanity endures. Come home. The refugees had become pioneers. The death sentence had become a declaration of independence. And in just 25 days, 2 million humans had proven what the galaxy would soon learn. Humanity doesn't just survive. It transforms impossibility into reality, one stubborn miracle at a time.